The Arab League condemned Israel's plan to de facto annex parts of the occupied West Bank as a new war crime against Palestinians. The Arab League's condemnation of the Israeli plan follows Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's announcement for the start of cabinet discussions on extending Israeli sovereignty to Jewish settlements in the West Bank and annexing outright the area's Jordan Valley. It warned the Israeli government and the U.S. administration to bear the consequences of their action, while in turn will pose a risk to global stability, security, and peace. One Egyptian officer, a non-commissioned officer, and 8 other army soldiers are now killed and injured as a result of an explosive device blast which targeted an armored vehicle affiliated with the army. Egypt's armed forces spokesperson Tamer Rifai said that the terrorist attack took place in Bir al-Abd city in North Sinai. He added that the armed forces affirmed the continuation of its battle against terrorists to preserve the state's security and stability. The Lebanese government approved an economic reform plan to save the country from its grave crisis. Prime Minister Hassan Diab said that his country will request aid from the International Monetary Fund to help the nation find a way out of a dire financial crisis based on the government's 5-year rescue plan. Diab said the 5-year plan aims to reduce the current account deficit to 5.6% and to secure $10 billion of external support, in addition to the $11 billion pledges in 2018 by international donors. The UN Security Council has rejected the Southern Transitional Council's STC surprising declaration of self-rule in Yemen's southern city of Aden. The members of the Security Council expressed concern that the STC actions could distract from the efforts of Special Envoy Martin Griffiths to secure a nationwide ceasefire, confidence-building measures, and the restart of a Yemeni-led and owned inclusive political process, the Council said in a statement on Wednesday. They urged Yemen's legitimate government and the Houthi militias to reinforce their engagement with a view to reaching agreement on Griffiths' proposals as soon as possible. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo vowed to use all means available to extend a UN arms embargo on Iran, including working through a nuclear accord that President Donald Trump has trashed. Pompeo said he would ask the U.S. Security Council to prolong the ban. Pompeo said that the United States will seek action from Britain, France, and Germany, which remain part of the nuclear accord. U.S. scientists revealed a potential breakthrough in the fight against the novel coronavirus after a trial showed patients responding to an antiviral drug. The successful trials have raised global hopes for a return to normal despite mounting dust and abysmal economic figures. A clinical trial of the drug Remdesivir showed that patients recovered about 30% faster than those on a placebo in the first proof of successful treatment against the new disease. Saudi Arabia revealed that government spending for the first quarter of 2020 has increased to $60 billion, with total revenue standing at $51 billion, leaving a $9 billion deficit. Saudi financial results were released amid difficult conditions faced by the international economy as oil revenues take a nosedive, with prices in the global markets trembling under the repercussions of the coronavirus crisis, which also impacted the results of the non-oil sector. That reversed a first quarter surplus of around $7.4 billion in 2019. Sudan has postponed a key economic conference meant to formulate subsidiary reforms demanded by foreign donors until after the coronavirus pandemic. The conference had been scheduled for June the 2nd, with preparatory meetings in May. A new date will be set after Sudan's epidemic has been overcome. Potential foreign donors are pressing for subsidiary reforms and greater economic transparency. The International Federation of Journalists published a survey reporting that working conditions of news reporters around the globe have deteriorated during the novel coronavirus pandemic amid job losses and attacks on media freedom. 3 out of 4 journalists have faced restrictions, obstruction of intimidation while covering the crisis of COVID-19 virus, analyzing response from 1,308 journalists in 77 countries. 2/3 of staff and freelance journalists said they have experienced worsening working conditions, including pay cuts, lost revenue, and job losses. A mosque in the western German city of Wuppertal is delivering meals to elderly Muslims unable to break the fast with their families due to lockdown, as well as to non-Muslims struggling to make ends meet. Volunteers at the mosque, run by one of Germany's largest associations of mosques, provide meals to anyone who placed an order. Mosques and churches and other houses of worship will be allowed to open their doors to the faithful starting on May 4th under hygiene rules that include limiting the number of people to 50. The General Authority for Statistics revealed on Thursday that the total number of pilgrims who performed Umrah in 2019 exceeded 19 million. It was revealed that the number of domestic pilgrims was the highest in the holy month of Ramadan, accounting for 58.10% of the total number of pilgrims throughout the year. Among the pilgrims, men constituted 64.62% and women 35.38%. The bulletin said, adding that the highest number of pilgrims ranged in the age group of 30 and 39 years. The Ministry of Health has set up a 100-bed field hospital to treat coronavirus cases in Mecca. The Director General of Health Affairs in Mecca region inspected the new field hospital to review its readiness and preparedness to receive people infected with the deadly virus. The hospital will be operated by trained medical staff from the Health Affairs Department in Mecca region. Presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden said he will keep the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem if he is elected president later this year. In 1995, while a Delaware senator, Biden supported the Jerusalem Embassy Act, overwhelmingly adopted by both the Senate and the House, which recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital, calling for the city to remain undivided. The waiver was repeatedly renewed by Presidents Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama. The UK Supreme Court has overturned a government ban on pension schemes divesting from certain foreign nations and UK defense firms in a move hailed by the Palestine Solidarity Campaign as a historic victory. The initial ban was challenged in June 2017 by the PSC, which led to the UK Administrative Court declaring it unlawful before the decision was overturned by the Court of Appeal. The Supreme Court's ruling comes after the government announced plans to prohibit public bodies from imposing boycott, divestment, and sanctions campaigns against foreign countries. France reported 289 coronavirus deaths, a drop of more than 100 from the previous day, as well as another decline in the number of patients in intensive care. Top health official James Salmon said the increase brought the country's total death toll to 24,376, the world's fifth highest figure after the US, Italy, Britain, and Spain. The latest figures continued the more optimistic trend seen in recent days, with the number of patients in intensive care shrinking by 188 to 4,019. The number peaked at 7,200 on April 9th. The U.S. drug makers' vaccines had said Pfizer aims to make 10 to 20 million doses of a coronavirus vaccine it's developing with Germany's BioNTech by the end of 2020 for possible emergency use depending on trial results. Also, U.S. President Donald Trump said the United States plans to accelerate the development of a coronavirus vaccine, an effort that has been dubbed Operation Warp Speed. Trump, speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, said he is in overall charge of the project aimed at finding a vaccine for the virus as quickly as possible. Russian Prime Minister has gone to hospital after he was diagnosed with coronavirus. His positive test came on the same day that Russia recorded a record 7,099 cases, taking the total number of infections above 100,000. Officials fear warmer weather will send families rushing to the countryside as usual, so Moscow is increasing the number of police patrols in the coming days to ensure people stick to the strict lockdown. Twitter will grant researchers and software developers access to a real-time data stream of tens of millions of daily public tweets about COVID-19, which they can use to study the spread of the disease on track misinformation. Twitter said that this access could also be used by approved applications working on crisis management, emergency response, or communication within communities, as well as those developing machine learning and data tools to help the scientific community understand COVID-19. Social media platforms have both introduced new policies to curb COVID-19 misinformation and warned that there may be errors due to their reliance on more automated moderation systems during the pandemic. Princess Charlotte celebrated her 5th birthday with cake, games, and a Zoom party with the Queen. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge are organizing the video call so Charlotte can spend time with her family and friends while still observing social distancing guidelines during the coronavirus pandemic. According to The Sun, Charlotte's parents are keen to ensure she has all the fun of a birthday next week, despite the unprecedented circumstances COVID-19 has forced on the world.